So this is Amy Tusher for Sports Centred. I'm very pleased to be joined by Beth Blacklock, the Saracens and Scotland national team player. So Beth, thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, huge congratulations for getting into the Scotland national team. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Good, excited. It's the dream. So happy that all the hard work has paid off finally. So yeah, excited to be able to go and play on the world stage.
Yeah, so obviously massive news today that you've made the 23 for the first game against Wales. How did you feel? Buzzing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had our two warm-up matches going into it and things, and so it's kind of squad rotations, trying to make sure that everybody gets some game time, and it was off the back of a hard preseason. So it was kind of going into the team selection, had no idea what was going to be going on and things, but really, really happy to be playing. I guess it's what you aim for is A, get selected for the World Cup, but then to actually know that you're going to be selected for one of the matches is huge. So I think from when we found out, my butterflies haven't really stopped.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised. Obviously, how did your family react when you told them? Obviously, you got selected for the World Cup squad, but then obviously the team for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, again, just buzzing for me really. Like they've obviously seen me get through all of the lows of like not being selected, injury, all the hard work and things that you have to do outside of that and things. And so I think for them, the huge thing is being able to see how excited I am and that actually I'm able to get the reward from all the hard work that's going into it. So I think I imagine very, very excited and are all coming to the game. So I imagine I'll get a big hug from them after the game, no matter how it goes.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like say, having your family there makes it even more special for them. Like you said, obviously it's been tough for you being sort of in and out of the team. Obviously, your debut World Cup tournament. Obviously, you made your debut in 23, didn't you, in the Six Nations? So it's been a bit of time coming. So I guess it makes it a bit more special for you.
Yeah, hugely. I mean, they were at my first cap as well, and they've obviously. I think my dad came to my second ever rugby game when I was at uni, so it's one of those things. They're always there with you through it all and stuff. So yeah, definitely a long time coming, and it's been the next dream up after you get your first cap. It's then playing the World Cup, and so I think it's an exciting pathway to go down and have them all there. It's good.
Yeah, so obviously you're playing Wales this weekend in Salford, Manchester. Obviously the games are normally pretty tight between you two. So how's preparations gone in camp leading up to Saturday?
Yeah, preparations have. I mean, to be perfectly honest, preparations haven't been just the 1 week. They've kind of been a few weeks going in pre-season. We knew that Wales was going to be our first game, and with the history of it, of them kicking us out of the pool in the last World Cup, and then as you say, tight matches every time after that. Wales is always a grudge match, so a lot of our pre-season was thinking, right, how are we going to be going into this first World Cup game? And so therefore the preparations are kind of longer than just this week. But this week's kind of just been that, right, now let's actually focus it in on the game. Let's get into our game flow and actually get into what we want to be targeting on this weekend. So
Yeah, obviously you know a couple of girls in the Welsh squad from your Saracens team. Has there been any banter with them yet, or are you just waiting for after the game, seeing what's happened?
Well, we haven't been not talking until Sunday. So it's one of those things, we were all talking through pre-season and going, yeah, it looks like it's going great. And then Sunday came and we saw each other at the welcome ceremony, and it kind of gets a bit real. And we spoke about grabbing a coffee and things, but it got to Sunday and it's like, we haven't quite put those in the schedule yet. Maybe that'll be a next week thing.
Yeah, no, like I say, it should be an excellent match. Obviously, in the Six Nations, obviously 24-21, it's a very close match. What do you expect from this next game? Do you think it's going to be just as tight, or obviously Wales have had their own struggles leading up to the game as well? So
I think it's tough to say. There's been lots of changes in both the Scotland side and the Wales side in terms of coaching staff, in terms of how the actual system works within the unions that they've got. So I think there's lots of things that have changed in the environment that we've all got. Obviously, a lot of the players have changed as well. And so actually, I think they're both going to be new sides. I think that even though we've both had 2 warm-up games coming into this, and you could technically do analysis, I imagine that the same way that we have, Wales have probably kept their cards close to their chest. So I think it's going to be one of those games that actually it could go either way, and it could be tight or it could be a big difference. Obviously, hopefully it's in our favour. But you can't really predict how it's going to be going. And I think it's going to be one of those games that is 100% going to be aggressive. It always is with Wales. They always come out fast, and they always come out hard. So I imagine it's going to be a sore Sunday. But I'm really just looking forward to it. It's always fun to be able to play it because we love those emotional games. They're kind of the ones that you live for and you thrive in. So it's going to be good either way.
Yeah. Like you said, obviously there's lots of changes, but obviously you've got in your Scotland squad quite a lot of experience in your team, haven't you? You've got captain Rachel, who's obviously she's been there and done it. Obviously Lana as well. So what's it like sort of playing and training alongside those sort of players who have experienced it? Are you learning from them as well?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. They've got fantastic experience in terms of leadership, in terms of the clubs that they've played for, as well as Scotland and the amount of caps that they've got. Playing with them is incredible just for the fact that with the experience comes a lot of clarity, and there also comes a lot of confidence for you playing alongside them, but also just the tips and things that you get that whilst you're in the training pitch or whilst you're on the pitch when you're playing, even just to be perfectly honest, sitting on the bus. Things just kind of come out all the time. And so I think being able to be in an environment where they're a lot calmer going into these sorts of matches, it's really hard for your adrenaline not to be pumping. Like it is, you are living your dream going and playing on this platform. You're playing against the world's best players. And so it is really hard to not let your emotions get the best of you. And so I think being able to have that calmness around you means that if you don't necessarily have that experience, then actually having that clarity brings in maybe the wisdom of the experience to your game as well, and the way that your mood is. And so it just kind of like herding sheep, isn't it?
Very much so sheep. Very excited sheep. So obviously for your position, you're obviously very versatile. You can play at centre and fly half. Sorry. Obviously, you've got competition for those places with Emma Orr and Lisa Thompson. Obviously, in those positions, what's it like training with them? Sort of, are you trying to learn off them, or are you wanting to obviously have a look? Have they got a niggle just to see how your game's going to go for Saturday?
I mean, they're both fantastic players. I think when you get to a World Cup, it's very different. Obviously, everybody wants to have that starting shirt. Everybody wants that. Like, they would be silly to say that I don't want that. But coming to the World Cup, like you were saying about the experience that Lana and Rachel have, Lisa has that. Lisa is just such a well-routine player and a really experienced player, both in 15s and 7s. And from that, she has a lot of skill. She has a lot of tactical knowledge, and probably brings a lot of that calmness to the players around as well. So coming into the World Cup, it's one of those things, is she's a fantastic leader, and I think that's going to really benefit the team on the weekend. Emma Orr is just fantastic all round. So in terms of with training, when it comes to these two, I asked Lisa any question I possibly can ask, and she's brilliant. So she'll always try and bring me up as well, because I guess it's kind of one of those things, is you never want to bring a player down. You always want to be making sure that they're at the top of their game. So you being at the top of your game, you need to bring it up a step rather than bringing people down. That's the whole point in trying to perform the best you can as well. So I guess in training, it's amazing to be able to train with these players so I can see their strengths, but also understand my own strengths too. And maybe learn a bit of theirs to try and level it out a little bit. And it's always one of those things when Emma Orr runs on your outside and you go, oh, but it is Emma Orr. It ups your training. So it's great being able to be around these girls in the squad. And then I guess understanding your own strengths when I do get to come on the pitch, and why I'm there for that reason too.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like say, obviously you're known for sort of your hard lines, your offloads, obviously your big kicks off the boot. Is that something that you've been continuing to work on in training, asking the other girls more about how you can develop as well? Or?
Yeah, I guess it's a lot of the strengths that you have as a player, they only really come off when people learn to play around you. So I guess when it comes to like offloading game, hard lines and things like that. It's going to be communicating with Nelly in terms of where she wants you to be going so that you are more likely to get that ball, or the communication to make sure that you're in the right places to be able to put someone else into that space, or the offloads is that actually this is how I do it, so therefore this is the line that you need to run to get that, because otherwise I can't really give the offload. In terms of the kicking game, that's one of those things that, you know, we're always training and we're always practicing those. And so I guess that's, again, just communication, understanding the tactics of the game, and just, yeah, I guess figuring out where one person's stronger on a pitch compared to someone who's stronger on another place of a pitch, just try and make sure that we're doing the best that we can for the entire squad to be able to maximise that ability that we have on the day to try and get as far as we can in this competition.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, obviously preparation is key. Obviously, what does a week, I know obviously you said it was quite longer, what does a week in training look like for you guys, obviously leading into a World Cup?
A lot of it coming into the World Cup, a lot of it is now going to be going week by week for the games, and it's going to be trying to make sure that everybody is as fit as they can be for those matches on Saturday. So it's very much around maintenance. So where before going into a World Cup tournament, you might work on your fitness and your strength and things like that and trying to maximize those. Now it's going to be okay, how can we make sure that our bodies are ticking as well as possible so that we can perform on Saturday specifically? So there's a lot of clarity sessions. There's going to be a lot of meetings so that we can try and do a lot of our practice and things off feet, so that when we're on feet we can try and maximize the efficiency of that so that we can limit it, and then making sure that we're getting our contact, we're getting our speed and things like that, so that again come Saturday we're ready for that. So it's a bit of a mix between rest, walking, talking and running.
It's a good mix, like say, we sort of deloading a little bit leading into sort of the big games. Like I said, it's going to be tough against Wales. So you're in Pool B, so there's no easy matches in international rugby, is there? But obviously you've got the likes of Canada, who are sort of potentially maybe favourites after England. You've got obviously Wales and you've got Fiji. So obviously I guess you prepare differently for each of those games to what each team can bring. Obviously Fiji are known for their obviously handling and things like that. So you'll prepare it different, I guess, to Wales and Canada.
Yeah. Each game is prepared differently just because the way that they play, we want to defend their game, but we also want to try and attack maybe where their weaknesses are. It's important that we can look at it and see about, okay, this is what we do as Scotland, and therefore this is what we're going to maximise in this area of Scotland's game, rather than looking, and I know a lot of teams tend to overanalyze a lot of other teams and then actually change the way they play. But like, the important thing is that actually we're coming in here because we're contenders. We're coming in here, like you say, there's no easy match. So how can we make it so that our Scotland game is what rises, and we can change the other team to have to adapt around us? So yeah, we're aiming for every game probably with different focuses, but all of them are still going to be based around what our inherent Scotland attack and defence principles are going to be. I guess it'll be different levels of running and contact and how you mix those in, and whereabouts on the pitch you play and where we're targeting and things. That'll be different, but I'm not going to be giving those away to you.
No secrets just yet. Obviously, not many people will know you obviously have a day job alongside being an international rugby player. What have you had to do for this? Is it a bit of annual leave, or have they given you the time, or are you still working away during the day?
Well, so I've actually had a bit of a swap. So before I used to be a data engineer for Jaguar Land Rover, and when I made the decision to come into international rugby into the World Cup year, I actually decided to leave my job. And so before I came into international rugby, I coached alongside with my normal job. And so what I've done is I've actually gone back to coaching. So I now coach Hackney Ladies. And so it's been a bit of a struggle trying to help and have my hand in the honey pot from far away. But it's been just, basically they've given me the space to be able to come perform at the World Cup. We all understand how much we love rugby and things. So they've given me the space to be able to do that. And just whenever I've been back, I've been able to go along to sessions and things like that. But it'll just be when I come back from the World Cup, I'm just going to have to dive right back in. So
no, at least obviously, like say, you're not having to try and manage working a full-time job alongside obviously playing rugby. Sort of what did your pathway look like, obviously getting to the stage you're at now? Obviously we met through playing cricket. Obviously We played a couple of innings for Miss Lee Ladies, who may have scored the majority of the runs in that innings. But obviously, what did it mean for you?
So obviously at the time where I played cricket, I didn't play rugby. So I played football and cricket largely before I went to university. And when I got to uni, I actually then got dragged along to one of the taster sessions by Corrine, who I actually play with here at Scotland now. Absolutely loved it. And so I stayed, played for the university, then went through county, DMP, Durham Sharks. Then I moved down to London for work and then played for Harlequins when I was there. And then I moved and I'm currently still at Saracens. And so, yeah, I guess it's kind of been a playing university level, then going to Prem and then playing slightly above Prem and then international. So that was kind of my steps there from university through. Wish I'd taken it up earlier and listened to my dad about rugby being my sport, but I was clearly determined to be the kid who didn't listen to the parents.
No, exactly. Like I say, you're obviously very sporty and obviously very good at many different sports as well. What would you say to young girls, obviously, who are wanting to start a career in rugby? How would they best go about it, would you say?
In terms of wanting to play professionally, it's just getting involved. One of the biggest things is the fact that we're seeing so much more participation in women's rugby now and girls rugby. Like there wasn't really a club near me growing up. I had to play with the boys or not at all. So it's trying to get involved, making sure that they stick with it, but also just trying to expose themselves to as many sports as possible. Like for me, there's so many transferable skills and being able to just enjoy playing sport and understanding why you're doing it. When you get to actually narrow down to rugby, you know that you're picking it because you love it. And then you know that you're going to be able to have that mentality and that determination to really push yourself through. Like it's such a fantastic sport and such a fantastic community. If you just try and expose yourself to it as much as you possibly can, the opportunities are there. People will see you. There's so many different connections. Rugby's just incredible for that. So it will come. Just keep pushing.
No, I think that's so important. And I think obviously women's sport as a whole is finally getting the sort of coverage that it deserves, and hopefully financial side will make it easier so people aren't having to say have day jobs in and out. And like say this summer we've had the Lionesses win the Euros again. So it's so important, isn't it? Are you hoping sort of having a home World Cup, obviously in Scotland, but obviously the World Cup being taken place in England, you hoping to have that same impact, trying to obviously drive participation as well?
Yeah, hugely. I mean, if you looked at the stats of the women's tickets that have been sold, 340,000 already. The record they've already sold out the final at Twickenham. Like it's already showing incredible developments, and it hasn't even kicked off yet. Like you walk outside and you see so many different World Cup signs, and it's incredible. Because thinking like you wouldn't have seen that 10, 15 years ago, and probably not even 4 years ago. Like 7 years ago it was in Ireland and it still didn't have that same exposure, and that was a home nation. So being able to see the development within the home nation itself, let alone worldwide, it's incredible. And as soon as you get the exposure up, the participation comes as well. It ends up being a cycle. And so it's really looking forward to seeing the developments in women's sport, but also being really excited about seeing the development in women's rugby, because it really deserves the exposure that it's getting.
No, definitely. And like I say, sort of we'll wrap up now. I know you're probably obviously very busy, but thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, for anyone wanting to watch Scotland, obviously their first game against Wales this Saturday, 2:45 p.m. Salford, Manchester. You can obviously catch it on BBC One and BBC iPlayer. But no, thank you so much for your time, Beth, today.
No, thank you for having me.
No, good luck on Saturday. Obviously I hope you get on and I'll be watching. So good luck.
Thank you.